Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinam Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachari Nirvisesha Sunnavadi
Hari Bol.
Ashyata Deshatari Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Gaura Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Hare
Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Prabhus and Mothers. Welcome to this session of Bhagavad Gita. So we are reciting ninth canto, ninth chapter, Text, we finished 8, let's see, 7 last week. So we are going to start with 8. But before that, we would like to pray to have our clear consciousness so we can grasp the Lord's presence in His sound form called Bhagavad Gita. So please join together. Om Ajnanati Mirandhasya Gyenanjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurube Namah Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhayam Dadati Shapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanitam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Vishesha Sunnavadi Paschata Deshatarine Pancha Kalpa Taruvescha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebho Vaishnavebho Namo Namo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you for joining this beautiful session of Bhagavad Gita. If you would like to help, if you have Bhagavad Gita, then we can start reciting some verses and discuss. That will help in our progression, spiritual path. So just to refresh where we were last week and where we are thinking of going today with this part. First sloka of this chapter, just to refresh, Krishna says, for attaining the supreme result that you have asked in the previous chapter, 8th chapter, then Krishna discussed that I will reveal to you what is the easiest process. And the reason Krishna will reveal, I hope some of you remember, because non-envious. So this is a one good quality that we can develop, that if we are non-envy, and we discuss about 12 types of symptoms that if you are non-envy, then Krishna says you will grasp. Krishna will reveal in your heart. When you hear, you can retain. You can apply this in your life. So many ways you will be benefited. So let us begin with that note. And then second sloka we mentioned that why this confidential knowledge is so special. Why? Because it is the king of knowledge and it is the king of all secret, supreme purifier. Just by hearing Bhagavad Gita, of course, Arjuna contemplated, and we contemplate and we reflect, then we assimilate and we make the step further called surrender. Then directly we will realize through personal experience, righteous, joyfully practicable, I would say, and imperishable this knowledge. Then on the third sloka, Krishna says, okay, you are hearing, this is joyfully purple, it's very supreme secret, but if you don't have faith, you're not going to go to spiritual world and you're going to stay in this material world. So even hearing is not enough. We have to apply and maintain a belief. Maintain a belief that God is not going to do for you. You have to do on your own. And we discuss also the two ways you can develop faith. Then question comes, what is that knowledge that Krishna is imparting? Then text 4 and 5, Krishna reveal the mysteries about this relationship. Because simultaneously, all living beings don't abide in Krishna, though they rest within him. I'm not contained, Krishna says, in them. I exist beyond them as their source. So then Arjuna asks, can you explain this complex relationship with an example? Then Krishna gave a very beautiful example. I hope some of you remember. Just like a mighty wind, like a ball, and inside the ball, the air is moving up, down, left, right, east, west. So how much free will you have within the ball?
Only until the ball.
You don't have a free will like Krishna does. So it's difference. It's difference. In other words, like I give an example, like if there's a bad weather, I cannot control the weather. That is controlled by Krishna. But while I'm driving, whether I should remain happy, joyful, thinking of Krishna, or having a good time, or complaining, feeling bad, that's up to me. That is not up to Krishna. So these are some examples. Then also discussion took place next, verse 7. When the living being acts according to their free will, how do they abide within Krishna? Arjuna asked that question. Because they are constrained within boundaries of time. At the end of Kalpa, death comes, old age comes. How much really free will do they have? Then Arjuna also asked that question, aren't such cycle of unmanifested or manifested just the working of the nature? Then Krishna says, if you send living being into this world of suffering, aren't you implicated by karma? So that's the question Arjuna's to Krishna. Because then Krishna replied, these actions never bind me, Arjuna, because I am seated as if neutral, like a judge, not supporting plaintiff or defendant. I am unattached to these actions. I don't cause the suffering of living being. It is the result of their own past karma. Now Krishna gave a very interesting point. He says, if you are neutral, what is your role? Arjuna asked that question. If you are neutral, what is your role in the working of material nature? So that's where we stop, and we're going to start from that point. So who would like to read? Let's see. Text 7 we did. We can start with text 9. Okay, Mother Sushilpa, you have raised hand. Would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranam, devotees. Chapter 9, text 9. Nachamam tani karmani nibadhanti dhananjaya udasinavat asinam asaktam tesu karmasu. Should I read the word to word or go to the translation?
Translation and purport.
Yes, Prabhu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. O Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached from all these material activities, seated as though neutral. Purport: one should not think in this connection that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no engagement. In his spiritual world, he is always engaged. In the Brahma Samhita 5.6, it is stated, Atma Atmarasamasya tasyati prakritya na samagamaha. He is always involved in his eternal blissful spiritual activities, but he has nothing to do with these material activities. Material activities are being carried on by his different potencies. The Lord is always neutral in the material activities of the created world. This neutrality is mentioned here with the word udasinavat. Udasinavat. Although he has control over every minute detail of material activities, he is sitting as if neutral. The example can be given of a high court judge sitting on his bench. By his order, so many things are happening. Someone is being hanged, someone is being put into jail, someone is awarded a huge amount of wealth. but still he is neutral. He has nothing to do with all that gain and loss. Similarly, the Lord is always neutral, although he has his hand in every sphere of activity. In the Vedanta Sutra 2.1.34, it is stated, Vaisamya Nairgrahanyena. He is not situated in the dualities of this material world. He is transcendental to those dualities, nor he is attached to the creation and annihilation of this material world. The living entities take their different forms in the various species of life according to their past deeds, and the Lord doesn't interfere with them. Hare Krishna,
Very
Prabhu.
nice. So here, Krishna is replying to his question. He's addressing Arjuna as Dhananjay. So he said, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached from all this material activity, seated as though neutral. So here you can literally break down this word by word meaning. Nacha mam tani karmani. Actually, tani karmani. All this karma, which is all this action which is done, nibaddanti dhenan jaya. This does not bind me. No. It's coming in previous line. Why it does not bind me? The question is asked. You can literally make that question, and Krishna is answering. Because udashina bat ashinam. Udashin, neutral. Udashina bat. I'm situated as if neutral. Ashaktam teshu karmoshu. I'm not attached. We have discussed earlier difference between ashakta and ashakta. A, long A, and short A, ashakta. Ashakta means you are attached to your work, to your family, to your everything. Ashakta means detached. Sri Krishna is udasin, but ashinam. Sri Krishna is detached like a judge. So material nature has its own system. It acts according to its system. It is under Sri Krishna's supervision. But Sri Krishna is not having any personal agenda. Krishna does not have any vendetta against someone. You defied me, therefore I'll punish you. Our conception of God is not like that. You defied me. No, there is a law of karma, and Krishna let law of karma runs its course. So Sri Krishna is saying, I don't become bound because I am Udashinabhat. Can Krishna culpable for the destruction of all the universes? No. As it is all happening by the law of nature. But someone can say that ultimately he is the one who designed such law of nature. Hey Prabhu, you created this. He has set up the system. But Krishna is saying he is not forced us to get into this system. Like a king, he is not responsible for suffering jail mates. Similarly, souls defy the God and they choose to be separated from him, choose to this world where they suffered. So king does not have any personal vendetta against the one in jail. There is law. Those who abide by the law are protected. Those who defy are sent to the correction center. So Krishna is saying, I am not karmically implicated because he does not derive it. He is Udashinabhat. He is detached, therefore, Nachama tani karmani. I don't become bound by this. Srila Prabhupada quoted the famous verse from Vedanta Sutra again in this chapter. Vaishamma Nariginnana. He is not partial. He is literally like a judge. You are responsible for your action and reaction. Okay, we can go one more verse. Text 10. Anyone?
I can read, Prabhu.
All right.
Text 10, yes. Maya Dyakshena Prikti Shriyate Sacharacharam Hetunayanena Kuntaya Jagat Vivartate. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and unmoving beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Purport. It is clearly stated here that the Supreme Lord, although aloof from all the activities of the material world, remains the Supreme Director. The Supreme Lord is the Supreme Will and the background of this material manifestation, but the management is being conducted by material nature. Krishna also states in Bhagavad Gita that of all the living entities in different forms and species, I am the Father. The Father gives seeds to the womb of the mother for the child. And similarly, the Supreme Lord, by his mere glance, injects all the living entities into the womb of material nature, and they come out of their different forms and species according to their last desires and activities. All these living entities, although born under the glance of the Supreme Lord, still take their different bodies according to their past deeds and desires. So the Lord is not directly attached to this material creation. He simply glances over material nature. Material nature is thus activated, and everything is created immediately. Because he glances over material nature, there is undoubtedly activity on the part of the Supreme Lord, but he has nothing to do with the manifestation of the material world directly. This example is given in the Smriti. When there's a fragrant flower before someone, the fragrance is touched by the smelling power of the person. Yet the smelling and the flower are detached from one another. There's a similar connection between the material world and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, he has nothing to do with his material world, but he creates by his glance and ordains. In summary, material nature, without the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, cannot do anything. Yet the Supreme Personality is detached from all material activities.
Very good. Thank you.
Haribol.
This is a beautiful verse. Maya adhakshena, under my supervision. Maya, not Maya. Maya means my, by my. Maya, long A is illusion. So Maya adhakshena, Prakriti. Prakriti here means the nature works under my supervision. Suyate sa chara charam. Suyate, it manifests. Sa chara acharam, living and non-living. Hetu nanena kunteya. For that reason, under that hetu kunteya, jagat bhi parivartate. Bhi parivartate. Parivartate means change. Parivartan. Changing. Bhi parivartate means cycle of change. It is working, it is going on. Now, here Sri Krishna clearly, interestingly, he concludes this section by saying, all these bhi parivartate, that is maintains, which is taught text 4, 5, and 6. Then creation and destruction, which he talks 7, 8, 9. Now this is a 10. That all this happening in my supervision. The world's, the word's supervision is important. Adhakshayata, the overseer or supervisor, is not involved in hands-on. That person is overseeing. Akshaya is eyes to Krishna. Eyes. So Krishna is seeing from above. He is also present as a super soul. Inside, so he is also seeing from inside. But seeing from inside, he is not attached. He is not entangled. He is as if above. He is above material consciousness. Even if he is present within the matter, he is still above because he is not caught up in the material consciousness. Suyatesha characharam. All creation is happening under his will. So as devotees, what is the implication of this understanding? Sometimes some of the devotee thinks that I am serving Krishna, wanted to go back. But in this world, there are so many problems. Internally, the mind is troubling me. Externally, there's so many hostile forces. How can I continue fighting this battle all alone? It is difficult. I don't know, some of you ever felt. I did many times. Even in this material world, whatever is happening is by sanction of Sri Krishna under his supervision. So he is there with us. We will see later on that the Sri Krishna is personally involved for his devotee. For others, he is dispassionately overseeing, but for his devotees, he is passionately involved. That is his glory. That he is involved, his concern for devotees, his hands on. At the same time, for everyone else, he is there. He is in charge of creation, in charge of existence. Ultimately, the purpose of jail is to reform the citizen. Similarly, this world is a place of suffering and all the destruction. Okay. The world is a place of suffering and all the destruction and suffering is there to ultimately, what's the purpose? Why we go through so much struggles? For what? Only one answer.
So we can turn to Krishna.
Yeah, reform. Turn to Krishna means reforming, building our character, building our attitude, building our respectful nature. That is required. So there is no need to feel destitute, alone. Krishna is there within our heart. Krishna is involved. He cares. And Prabhus and mothers, in fact, whole system of material nature is created so that there is a facility available so that we can turn back to him. Now, previously, some of you may remember, I mentioned that one of my jewelry customer, long time back, she was the superintendent of Stark prison here, like maybe 20 miles from here, I think. And she said that after some time, 10 years, 15 years, some of the inmate, they actually like to live in the jail. They don't want to go out. Now, if you ask why the prison is not made to live, prison is made to correction. You know, I did something wrong. I went to jail. Now they corrected me. Okay, I can be released free. Now, if I start liking prison and want to live in the prison, but the purpose is lost. Prison is not made for living facility, it's for correction. Similarly, material nature is for correction, but unfortunately, maybe all of you are not, but I feel we like this world. What's wrong, Prabhu? If I, just like that Gurukuli boy said, if I have more sense, enjoyment, and long life and healthy, I'm fine. I don't have to go to Gulab Mindavan. I said, this is not a good idea. Where do you come up with this idea? We cannot visualize that the happiness in spiritual world 1,000 trillion times more than what we think the happiness in this world. Yeah, but I don't have that access right now. I'm happy here. Why not Krishna give me more sense gratification, good health, long life? I'll be okay. This is called too long in the material world. We start liking instead of reforming. Now, Sri Krishna helps. He's there to help us. If he's having apparent detachment for karmis, those who are not his devotee, they are also part of his compassion. It's not like Krishna is not helping the karmis or those who are not surrendering. They don't, main problem, Prabhu's and Mother, it's a fact. I mean, you investigate, you will come to this understanding. They really don't want to, they don't want God to be involved in their life. Some of the people think, whether in India or America or Russia or Europe or China, doesn't matter. People really think, leave me alone. I don't need God. I can live as long as I have a good health, good house, good money, good this, good that. I'll be fine. They really don't want God to get involved. So they want to play out their fantasies independently. So he says, okay, I'll provide you enough opportunity for trying that out. And when you'll be fed up, fed up, the word fed up. I'm tired, fed up of life. When you say you are fed up, then maybe you will think, okay, is there a God, or God says something. So Krishna says, I'll be waiting when you say I'm tired and fed up with this life. How many times you have read Bhagavatam, Ajamil? Many examples. They came to conclusion, I'm tired of this, my Lord, please take me back. I'm sorry, I did all the horrible. Krishna wants you to come back, but he doesn't want to force you or show the ugliness of material nature. You have to develop on your own an idea. He will facilitate, he will provide the help, provided you want. You have to pray for it. He doesn't want to give anything that you don't want. That's why Krishna says, I'll be there waiting in your heart for you to turn to me and return back to me. And for devotees, he's eagerly acting constantly to help them come back to him. Especially how he shows his grace to his devotee, part of the section which is later in this chapter. Yes, Charles.
Abu, it's when when they don't want to leave prison, there's a word for it. It's called institutionalized. It's like living in Maya. They get so used to living in the prison that they don't feel safe living outside the prison, or they don't feel good living outside the prison. Institutionalized.
Yeah, you are right. Yes, institutionalized. Institutionalized means they don't want to get out. It's unfortunate because the purpose of the prison is lost in their head. Now, I was thinking while I was reading this, if everything happens by Krishna's will, was Duryodhan too doing Krishna's will? Just to clarify, so that we should not think like that. Now, in this verse, Krishna declares that material nature works under his supervision. Some may find this declaration similar to a common saying, not a blade of grass moves without God's will. Prabhupada said that. Blade of grass, little grass on the floor, moves, cannot move without Krishna's sanction. If that is saying is true, that raises several questions. Were Duryodhana's action also by Krishna's will? If yes, then why did Krishna want Arjuna to fight against Duryodhana? You follow? It's like a oxymoron, like a conflicting opinion. Actually, Krishna's statement is newness. Everyone works under his supervision. Maya adhakshana. The word, if you look at it, Maya means by me. Adhakshana, everything working under me, under my direction. Not that everyone does his intention. There is a two difference. Krishna has given us all free will. He does not control how we use it. He gave us free will, but he does not control how you're going to use it. Inside your car, maybe the weather outside is controlled by Krishna, is cloudy day. But inside your car, whether you want to be a joyful to your friend in the car or you want to be mean, that Krishna doesn't control. That is up to you. So like that, control how much we can use it. This principle of freedom within limits is universal. Now let's take another example. Government does not usually control where we go in our car, does it? No. Government does not dictate you. But it does control how fast you go. If it is 25 miles in a school district and you drive 80 miles, aha, you will be controlled. Don't do that. I mean, I didn't do that much, but maybe 10 miles far, I got a ticket once, many years back. So if we envision the sky to be upside down ball, as I mentioned, then the sky does not control the movement of the air. It can move up and down, left and right. The sky does control the area of the movement of the air. Similarly, when Duryodhana had acted shamefully, Krishna had allowed, Prabhus and mothers, Krishna allowed, but he did not approve. That's two different things. Generally, how much a person can act out their misdirected free will depends on their past karma. Just as how much loan a person can get depends on their credit history. You want to buy a home? You need to borrow money from bank? It depends. If you have a good credit, then you'll get more money loan. So those with greater good karma may seem to get away with far worse misdeeds than those with lesser good karma. But everyone will eventually be curtailed and held accountable. So returning to the starting question, what I asked, the Kurukshetra war, was the time to curtail Duryodhana. And Krishna wanted Arjuna to be part of that cosmic accountability initiative. So what we can take away from this discussion, when people do evil things, they are not doing God's will. They are doing their own will as allowed by God within the limits of their karma. Now another question may raise from this text, because this is a beautiful verse actually. How faith can make us open-minded. I was thinking like we live in a vast and complex world wherein we seek safety, happiness. How? By rearranging things according to our desire, plans. Even buying a home or which town we should live, facility for children. The people think, this morning we were talking one family, they want to bring their children to our school here. So our plan when well executed, can take us towards that better life. For example, a student seeking a good career may strive to gain entry into a top university. They do a lot of. However, the world often works in a ways that can be perplexing, even frustrating. Things may turn out the opposite of what we sought. A student, despite preparing for years, may not secure the coveted admission. When faced with such reversal, what happened? Our mind's feelings may degenerate to anguish. We feel victimized. We feel hopeless. Why did this happen to me? We even ask, why me? Why God has given this to me? Why happening this me? we ask this. Why is this world against me? Things never work out for me. Why should I even try anything anymore? Yes, overwhelmed with such feeling, our mind may just close down. You know what? I don't want to do anything. Let me just rest and go away for a week. People do all these things, it's practically. And they refuse to hear any suggestion or consider any options. Now, amid such disappointments, Prabhus and mothers, practically I saw in my life, faith. Faith can be powerful aid. Faith centers on the principle that a divine being overseeing universe. This is this verse pointing out. Maya adhakshana prakriti. I am there, Ram Govinda Das. I am there for all of us. If we can focus on that, when we contemplate this principle, our mind gradually opens to an empowering possibility. Empowering possibility. Though things may have gone out of our control, maybe, they may not be entirely out of all control. They may still be part of some higher plan. Within that arrangement, what seems like a failure now may eventually turn out to be stepping stone to success. Prabhus and mothers, even great devotee like Arjuna, he failed. Nothing worked for him to save the child of Brahmana. I hope you read that from the Krishna book. And at the end, he was ready to jump in the fire because he took a vow. If he cannot protect, he will kill himself. But then Krishna intervened. Krishna says, follow me. I can show you where the children are. And in the ride, he's thinking, I am Arjuna, so powerful with my Gandiva bow. Nobody can insult my Gandiva. I will kill anybody. But today I failed. I could not even protect myself. I don't even know what is the best thing for me. Who is this person next to me sitting? Now, at that time, they were not that close, Prabhus and Mother. This is 50 years before battlefield. Krishna and Arjuna becoming bonded after this incident. So Arjuna is thinking, even my ultimate happiness, my protection, Krishna knows more than myself. And then he was emotional. I could not protect myself. I don't know how to maintain an honor for my own dignity. But Krishna does. Who is he? I want to be with him. I want to follow him. So our Acharya, even Prabhupada mentioned in that Krishna book on that pastime, that if we can turn to Krishna, who actually knows, Prabhus and mothers, it's a fact. Krishna knows you much more than you can even imagine. How much do you know about you? Only this life, Prabhus and mothers. That's all. Believe or not, honestly. You really know about you only in this life. Even that, you don't remember everything. But Krishna knows your thousands of lives. Krishna really knows what will make you happy. Krishna knows what you can do to become more happy. Therefore, voluntarily, we need to follow Krishna. That's why faith can be very powerful aid. And we need to contemplate that principle. You'll see your mind gradually opens an empowering possibility, empowering. You'll feel like, yes, I can surrender to Krishna and live happy with him. Materially, maybe you may see the things when gone out of your control. They may not even entirely out of control. Still, part of some higher plan is there. You will be start seeing it. Krishna has some plan. He wants me to come back for my better, happier person. Within that arrangement, what seems like a failure now for Arjuna, for each of us also, can turn out to be the stepping stone to ultimate success. So if we infuse with faith, the disappointed student may consider or explore the possibility that maybe they are better suited for another career, a career that is still accessible for them. Similarly, faith ensures that our mind does not close with negativity and despair, but stays open with positivity and purpose. So this is I just want all of you to think how faith can open our mind to the possibility that what we did not want or plan could work to our good. There's many songs. Krishna reminds, one song was Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote. Whenever, it's something like a medicine. Whenever you have little time, take a harmonium or kartal or midanga, just sing some song that relevant to your life right now, what you're going through. So on this discussion, you can sing that song. Tumi Sarveswareshwara Brajendra Kumara. In that song, this is a beautiful song. You'll see that how Bhaktivinoda Thakur expressed that, oh my Lord, according to your will, the living beings are taking birth and die. According to your will, they meet the prosperity and ruin, happiness and sorrow. The tiny soul, I am the tiny soul, bound by Maya, vainly struggles in the fetters of worldly desire. Within your sanction, he is unable to do anything. But you are the protector, you are the maintainer. Accept your lotus feet. There is no other hope for me. It's a beautiful song. You can sing. Believe me, after 10 minutes of singing that song, you will become a different person. You will find some satisfaction within your heart. And you can go on with full speed for the rest of the week or rest of the month. These are very important. Okay, now we have time. We can read one more verse. How to see Krishna's body. Who would like to read? 11, text 11. Mother Anastasia and Mother Ina, nice to see you all. Okay, who would like to read? Text 11. Yes, Prabhu. Kamaniya Prabhu, you want to read?
I can, Babuji.
Okay.
If Mata. Text 11. Avajananti mamuda manushim tanumashritam param bhavam janantu mama bhutamaheshwaram. Synonyms: Avajananti, deride, mam, me, Muddha, foolish man, Manusim, in a human form, Tanum, a body, Ashritam, assuming, Param, transcendental, Bhavam, nature, Ajanante, not knowing, Mama, my, Bhut, of everything that be, Maheshwaram, the supreme proprietor. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Ho. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the supreme Lord of all that be. Purport. From the other explanations of the previous verses in this chapter, it is clear that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although appearing like a human being, is not a common man. The personality of Godhead, who conducts the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the complete cosmic manifestation, cannot be a human being. Yet there are many foolish men who consider Krishna to be merely a powerful man and nothing more. Actually, he is the original Supreme Personality, as is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Ishwar Parama Krishna, he is the Supreme Lord. There are many Ishwaras, controllers, and one appears greater than the another. In the ordinary management of affairs in the material world, we find some official or a director, and above him there is a secretary, and above him is a minister, and above him a president. Each of them is a controller, but one is controlled by another. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that Krishna is the supreme controller. There are many controllers, undoubtedly, both in the material and the spiritual world. But Krishna is the supreme controller. Ishvara Parama Krishna, and his body is Sachidanand, non-material. Material bodies cannot perform the wonderful acts described in previous verses. His body is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. Although he is not a common man, the foolish deride him and consider him to be a man. His body is called here a Manusim because he is acting just like a man. A friend of Arjuna's, a politician involved in the battle of Kurukshetra. In so many ways, he is acting just like an ordinary man, but actually his body is such Chit Ananda Vigraha, eternal bliss and knowledge absolute. This is confirmed in the Vedic language. Also, Sat Chit Anand Rupaya Krishnaya. I offer obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who is the eternal blissful form of knowledge. Gopal Tapani Upanishad 1.1. There are other descriptions in the Vedic language also. Tam ekam govindam, you are Govinda, the pleasure of the senses and the cows. Satchidananda Vigraham, and your form is transcendental, full of knowledge, bliss and eternity. Gopal Tapani Upanishad 1.38. Despite the transcendental qualities of Lord Krishna's body, its full bliss and knowledge, there are many so-called scholars and commentators of Bhagavad Gita who deride Krishna as an ordinary man. The scholar may be born an extraordinary man due to his previous good work, but this conception of Sri Krishna is due to a poor fund of knowledge. Therefore, he is called Muddha, for only a foolish person consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being. The foolish consider Krishna an ordinary human being because they do not know the confidential activities of the Supreme Lord and his different energies. They do not know that Krishna's body is a symbol of complete knowledge and bliss, that he is the proprietor of everything that be, and that he can award liberation to anyone. Because they do not know that Krishna has so many transcendental qualifications that deride him. Nor do they know that the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this material world is a manifestation of his material energy. He is the master of the material energy, as has been explained in several places. Mamamaya Duratyaya. He claims that the material energy, although very powerful, is under his control, and whoever surrenders unto him can get out of the control of this material energy. If a soul surrender to Krishna can get out of the influence of material energy, then how come the Supreme Lord who conducts the creation, maintenance and annihilation of the whole cosmic nature have a material body like us? So this conception of Krishna is complete foolishness. Foolish persons, however, cannot conceive that the personality of Godhead Krishna, appearing just like an ordinary man, can be the controller of all the atoms and the gigantic manifestation of the universal form. The biggest and the minutest are beyond their conception. So they cannot imagine that a form like that of a human being can simultaneously control the infinite and the minute. Actually, although he is controlling
Kamaniya
the
Prabhu,
sorry,
if somebody asks you, okay, Prabhupada is restating this, that they cannot imagine how Krishna controls the atoms. He also entered into the atoms. He also controlled the universal, gigantic. So Prabhupada put a good logic in this couple of sentences. So my question is, why does Krishna comes just like a human form? What is your understanding? Or anyone else? Why Krishna comes as he could come as giant, like a huge form in the sky. Hey, surrender! Or something like that. Or I will smash you or something like that. I mean, this conception is there in the Western world, in the Christian, Judeo-Christian world, that God is like a big in the sky, very powerful. Why Krishna comes in a medium size like ours?
Prabhuji, as I understand, please correct me if I'm wrong, to give the pleasure to the devotees so that they can consider him as their son, friend, brother, because I believe um, that is possible only when he comes as a human form. Because if he's, as you mentioned, if he's coming into gigantic form, you cannot, perceive him as your son or brother or anything like that, right? So
Good.
that's what I understand. Please correct if it is wrong.
No, this is good. Good. You can add another small word. He wants to reciprocate because devotee has a particular form, so he will reciprocate according to their size of the form. God can have a 1 mile form, but if Mother Josuda coming in 7 feet, Krishna wants to take the form little baby, then grow up like a 7 feet, not more than that. To reciprocate, because it gives pleasure, as you say, to the devotees. That's good. Good understanding. Okay, continue then.
Sure, Baba. Actually, although he is controlling the infinite and the finite, he is apart from all this manifestation. It is clearly stated concerning his yogam aishwaryam, his inconceivable transcendental energy, that he can control the infinite and the finite simultaneously, and that he can remain aloof from them. Although the foolish cannot imagine how Krishna, who appears just like a human being, can control the infinite and the finite. Those who are pure devotees accept this, for they know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, they completely surrender unto him and engage in Krishna consciousness, devotional service of the Lord. There are many controversies between the impersonalists and the personalists about the Lord's appearance as a human being. But if we consult Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, the authoritative text for understanding the science of Krishna, then we can understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is not an ordinary man, although he appeared on this earth as an ordinary human. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, when the sages headed by Sunaka inquired about the activities of Krishna, they said, Kritavan kila kila karmani saha ramena keshava ati martyani bhagavan guda kapata manusha. Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with Balaram, played like a human being and so masked he performed many superhuman acts. Bhagavatam 1.1.20. The Lord's appearance as a man. Sorry, Babaji. You are saying something, Babaji?
No, Prabhu, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. The Lord's appearance as a human bewilders the foolish. No human being could perform the wonderful acts that Krishna performed while he was present on this earth. When Krishna appeared before his father and mother, Vasudeva and Devaki, he appeared with 4 hands, but after the prayers of the parents, he transformed himself into an ordinary child. As stated in Bhagavatam 10.3.46, Babhuva Prakrita Shishu, he became just like an ordinary child, an ordinary human being. Now here again it is indicated that the Lord's appearance as an ordinary human being is one of the features of his transcendental body. In the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, also it is stated that Arjuna prayed to Sri Krishna's form of 4 hands. Teneva Rupena Chaturabhujena. After revealing this form, Krishna, when petitioned by Arjuna, again assumed his original human-like form, Manusha Rupam. These different features of the Supreme Lord are certainly not those of an ordinary human being. Some of those who deride Krishna and who are infected with the Mayavadi philosophy quote the following verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam 3.29.21 to prove that Krishna is just an ordinary man. Aham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatmavastitaha sada. The Supreme is present in every living entity. We should better take note of this particular verse from the Vaishnava Acharyas like Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur instead of following the interpretation of unavatars persons who desire Krishna. Jiva Goswami, commenting on the verse, says that Krishna in this plenary expansion as Paramatma is situated in the moving and the non-moving entity as the super soul. So any neophyte devotee who simply gives his attention to the Archamurti, the form of the Supreme Lord in the temple, and does not respect other living entities, he is uselessly worshipping the form of the Lord in the temple. There are 3 kinds of devotees of the Lord, and the neophyte is in the lower stage. The neophyte devotees gives more attention to the deity in the temple than to other devotees. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur wants that this sort of mentality should be corrected. A devotee should see that because Krishna is present in everyone's heart as Paramatma, everybody is the embodiment or the temple of the Supreme Lord. So as one offers respect to the temple of the Lord, we should simply properly respect each and everybody in which the Paramatma dwells. Everyone should therefore be given proper respect and should not be neglected. There are also many impersonalists who deride temple worship. They said that since the God is everywhere, why should one restrict himself to the temple worship? But if God is everywhere, is he not in the temple or in the deity? Although the personality and the impersonalists will fight with one another perpetually. A
Good.
perfect devotee Krishna
It's a good
consciousness.
logic, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, Guruji. A perfect devotee in Krishna consciousness knows that although Krishna is the supreme personality, he is all pervading, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Although his personal abode is Goloka Vrindavan, he is always staying there. By his different manifestation of energy and by his plenary expansion, he is present everywhere in all parts of the material and spiritual creation. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it's a long purport Prabhupada wrote, and many key points I found. So first, let's discuss few minutes, and then we'll end. Avajananti mam mura. Mura means the foolish. Foolish cannot understand me. So Srila Prabhupada translated Avajananti as derived. They deride me. What they deride? Manushim tanum ashrita. They think actually he is descendant in human form. Did I or did you descend in human form? Anyone?
What's the question, Prabhuji? Could you please repeat?
Prabhupada is saying, Kamaniya Prabhu just read, that the foolish people, they deride Manushim Tanumasrita, means they think actually Krishna is descended in human form. Do we, or ask question to ourselves, did I deride in human form? Did I descendant in human form?
No, Prabhu.
No, Prabhuji.
Everybody agrees?
I agree.
I agree too.
Interesting. What is descending in human form means?
It means you come back as a human, right? Instead of like a bird or a cow, or you come back as human.
Do you not have a human form, Charles?
I hope so.
Come on. What do you mean you hope so? Look at in the mirror. Ask somebody next to you. Do you look like a human form? Yes. I know you. But I, the soul, is not human form. I have a spiritual form. Or I am the spiritual form. But when I say I descend in human form, yes. Does Krishna descend in human form? No. He does not descend in any form. He is eternally has a form which is unlimited, innumerable. He can reveal according to your expectation or reciprocation. But when I say I descended in human form, means I am not the human form. So that's why they are foolish. And there are many people in this world. Many means majority. They think like this. There's one of the biggest religion in this world. I will not say the name. You can guesstimate. They say they don't want to believe in any form of God because it's all material. In the airplane, I was sitting next to this person. He says, well, in our scripture, we don't believe any material form. I said, okay, there's no material form. What is the spiritual form? Oh, we cannot explain. I said, then how do you expect to understand that there is a spiritual form? If you cannot explain, if you cannot think, then what are you getting? You're getting impersonal. This is not personal form. But I don't want to argue, we are in the airplane. You have your faith, I have my faith. But question is, it doesn't make any sense. How many of you will buy? I give you a good example. How many of you will buy a philosophy? Mother Ina, because you are on the Zoom, you're visible. Now, if a police come to your town, wherever you are in Georgia, and say, your great-great-grandfather did not pay the bank loan, so you are now need to be arrested and stay in the jail until you pay off the loan, and you can be released, otherwise not. And if you say, how much is the loan? You say, it's about $5 million. Tell me honestly, what you will think? What will be the first thing you will say?
About my grandfather. I would think something about great grandfather, that he was not very reasonable, but I would refuse to pay it. I said,
you will refuse to pay.
Yes.
So how do you like the idea? We don't have to say the name of the religion. They are one of the biggest. Adam and Eve committed one crime. You are born with that sin. Either you accept this form of God, or you will be condemned to hell for eternity. How do you like this idea? It's the same concept. I literally had a talk with this minister one time. I said, this is a hallucination discussion. You are saying great, 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 great grandfather Adam and Eve did something crime. Now I am born with that sin. How you come up with this? I have a Aramaic Bible. Jesus spoke in two languages. He spoke Hebrew. He also spoke Aramaic. In Aramaic Bible doesn't have this, but nobody publishes. It's only few group, mostly in the Middle East. In American Bible is different. Anyway, the point is, now you know what religion is there. But does it make sense? Your great-grandfather did something crime, now you're going to be jail or pay $10 million. Not 5 million, 10 million. Or you will be in jail for life.
And also in saying the other concept, when they say, because one man died 2000 years ago for you, now all the things which you commit right now, they're also taken away. It's similar idea, but in present, then somebody committed sin and you have it. Now you commit sins and they disappear because somebody already, take it out from you. So yes, the logic is a little bit probably not changed, but
Yes.
like it's people who changed the logic or screwed the logic, played with it, because as you say, there could be another version of the Bible where made total sense.
Certain thing, we learn lesson. Like for an example, I don't know who translated that, because I don't speak Aramaic or Hebrew. I have some idea about it, that language, little bit. Like Mazal Tov, few word here, there I use that. When the reason Adam wanted to eat the fruits, you can say that devil came in a form of snake and tempted it. Now, only in Aramaic Bible I see that. It's very interesting. He says, you know why God says don't eat the fruit? So they say that fruit is the combination of knowledge about God. Because if you eat the fruit, you become God. He doesn't want you to compete. He doesn't want you to become God. So he said, don't eat. That made him temptation. Okay, I am going to eat. Why not I become God? So when I read that, I was like, okay, this is the idea of Gyanis, impersonalist. In this text and the next text also, you'll see how impersonalist they think. Maybe deep down in the heart of conditioned soul, this exploitation idea, enviousness to God is there as a contamination. It's not in the soul, original structure, but it is there as a adapted nature, contaminated nature. Why there is martial arts? Why there is a jujutsu, all this? Because people see that sometimes they get attacked. They want to protect. So, okay, God controls everything. What if I become a God? Then I don't have to worry about anything. But that doesn't make any sense. But that is there, logic. Logic. If I become God, then problem is solved. That's the foolish way. But thank you for understanding that. I think I will discuss this later next week, because this sloka is very tasty sloka. We can discuss. And the next one also, text 12, is a similar, how the impersonalists mistake Krishna's body to be material. This morning we're discussing the form and substance. What is the difference? And when they are not difference. So similarly, you can think all that glitters is not gold. How do you know which is gold, which is not gold? That means you have to become expert. You have to learn how to test, chemical test, to see that something is gold, what portion is gold, purity, according to the purity, nitric acid. There's a ammonia nitric acid solution is available for testing. So if otherwise, if you don't know how to test, anything glitters is gold, but it's not gold. So when we talk about God, we talk scientifically, spiritual scientifically, and with a good intelligence we can grasp. So with that note, we are going to continue next week. Is that okay? Any takeaway from today's discussion?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have 2 questions in the chat window.
Oh,
I can read them.
you can read them, please.
So, Bhagavad Gita 9.9 purport, it is stated that Krishna is not situated in dualities, but Krishna is transcendental to dualities. So I was just curious to know, does dualities refer to the creation and annihilation or something else?
We have duality. This is good, this is bad, constant. I want to do this, I don't want to do this. This person is good, this person is bad. If I eat this, it will happen good. If I eat that, it will happen bad. We have like duality. Krishna doesn't have that. He is not only in everything, he is also everything. We don't accept that idea, pantheism. Pantheism means there was one God, now he becomes everything. So everything is God. No, we don't accept that. We accept that Krishna is the origin source. He is a person and he is endowed with inconceivable potency and everything manifests from him. But at the same time, everything is within him. Everything is him also, simultaneously. So Prabhupada gives a very good solution. He said, Krishna and Krishnas. These two concepts together we accept as absolute. We never accept God without inconceivable potency. Who accept God without Achinta Shakti? Who? Impersonalist. Those are Mayavadis, those who are speculator. But we don't accept. We accept Krishna as God, Radharani also God. Energy and energetic together, one as God. When we say Krishna, the Supreme God, Radharani is within him. It's inseparable. You cannot separate potency and potent, to separate, not possible. They are eternally one. But maybe perception, some people see that. So Krishna doesn't have that, but we do have that. It makes sense, Mother?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. It's so yeah, the highest potency, Krishna is highest. I mean, non-measurable. He's everywhere. So there's no concept like duality
Correct.
compared
Correct.
to the material world. It's all
Correct.
the highest. Understood, Prabhu. Thank you. The
Thank
second one, you were giving an example of the Gurukula boy, and he was saying he's happy if Krishna gives like no issue with giving sense gratification, and so I'm not, which is not good. Totally agree. But the other way around, Prahlad Maharaj, he didn't want to. Prahlad Maharaj, when Narasimhadev asked to come back to Goloka, to take him along with him, he didn't want to. He said he asked a boon to remember Narasimhadev always, Krishna always, and then stay to deliver the other souls. So is it really possible in Kali Yuga? I mean, is that attitude now in Kali Yuga still considered as good, or just
Prahlad
trying to?
Maharaj, what Prahlad Maharaj says, Rattaya Vaitaranna, in that verse he says, I am not disturbed or suffering because just by thinking and remembering you and your wonderful qualities, I am happy, always happy. But what I am afraid of, this world, the Maya, how these people, they forgetting you, how they are planning for big project and all these things, which will pull them down and suffer, and they don't give up this. This is he's afraid of. So not that Prahlad Maharaj is not afraid. Prahlad Maharaj is afraid also, non-Krishna consciousness atmosphere, and he sees that those people's future will be doomed. This is one of the reasons why Nishingadev made him the emperor of the universe at that time, after Hiranyakashipu died, because he wanted to deliver, as you mentioned, this nice meditation. Prahlad Maharaj said he wish everybody, the whole world, would be performing Krishna consciousness, bhakti. Prahlad Maharaj actually prayed. Was that Bhagavatam 5.18.7? If you 5.18.7 or 18.8, that you will see that there is a famous verse, Prahlad Maharaj's prayers, how he prays, let the whole world meditate on you, well-wishing for each other, no envy. Manascha bhadram bhajatam adoksaje. They worship you and they never think of bad for each other. This is a big deal. These are beautiful prayers. So he prays like that to Nishingadev. And by his prayers, we see, I mean, Prabhupada also prays like this. By his prayers, we see that how this world, giving the facility of those who are sincere and they can go to spiritual world. But those who don't have any interest, what can you do? We are trying to create the interest. Actually, ISKCON is doing a tremendous work. Like this sadhu sangha, book distribution every day, So many things ISKCON doing. Why? Just to attract people. Not by force, but by invitation, that come and try to hear this. So as you said, Prahlad Maharaj, yes, Prahlad Maharaj wishing. This is a good prayers actually. If anybody want, is it a 5 Bhagavatam 5th canto 18th chapter text 9? If you look at it, Shasti Asti Vishwasya Kalo Prasidatam Dhayanto Bhutani Shivam Mitodaya Manascha Bhadram Bhajatam Adaksaje Abeshatam Namati Apiyahituki. Beautiful verse. He is wishing. He is wishing. He met Lord Nishingadev, he appeared, and he said, may the entire world, the whole universe, get your blessings with peace and hope. Because hope is a big deal. A lot of devotees become hopeless sometime, and then they associate with the advanced devotee and they become hopeful again. Hope is very important in our spiritual path, even Kormi's life. And then he prays that may everyone driven by envy and enmity become pacified and reconciled. Because envy is a big, beginning of this chapter, the first verse we discuss, I hope you remember. Why Krishna is revealing this confidential knowledge to Arjuna? For one reason, he said. Because he is
non-envious to Krishna.
Non-envious. So Prahlad Maharaj prayed for the whole world. He knows that people are envious. People, a lot of time we don't even know what is envy means. We think like envy means, oh, you have something, I don't like you to have this. That's one kind of envy, jealousy. There's many kinds of envy. Like Prabhupada said, where people are envious to the cows. I mentioned that before. How do you get envious to the cow? I'm not thinking of eating grass. I never developed a desire to eat grass, so cow eat grass. How am I envy? But then you hear the Prabhupada's lecture, Prabhupada then he completed. He says, everybody has a right to live. Cow has a right to live. Human has a right to live. But human thinks, no, cow doesn't have a right to live. Cow is in my plate. Cow is for me to eat. That means you don't allow him to live. That is envy. Such a nice way Prabhupada explained. I call this black envy, white envy like this. So envious is a very deadly danger. If some devotee is advancing, even within the devotee community, we can become envy. Why he's advancing or she's advancing? Why not me? This is dangerous. So like this. Thank you. That was very nice question.
Thank you, Prabhu. So in this Kali Yuga, if I'm comparing to myself, I shouldn't be. Prahlad Maharaj is like the greatest of the greatest. So we learn lessons out of what he mentioned. But in this material world, if we think, okay, I'm in. Always think about Krishna, reading, chanting, smaranam, all the 9 Avavida Bhakti. As much as possible and then be in that transcendental mode of thinking about Krishna. Okay, is it still fair to say that no, I don't want to Goloka because I'm already in Goloka thinking about Krishna now being physically in this material world, Prabhu? I'm just
material world and spiritual world is not a physical. Somebody's making noise. It's not a physical. It's a different level of consciousness. So when you come to a higher level of consciousness where pure goodness, loving service to God, that is spiritual. It's the same as spiritual world. When we say Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes song, Jedina grihe bhajana dekhi grihete golak bhaya. Charanasi du dekhiya Ganga Sukhanasi Mapaya. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur write that when I see this beautiful Golok Vrindavan, when I see the devotional activities in my house, my mind is absorbed in Krishna, the families are engaged. That time I see the Goloka atmosphere in the house. Is that a lie or just imagination? No, it's true. Goloka is another level of consciousness. Just like right now, you can be sitting in your house, but you can be absorbed in Krishna and transmit to Krishna Loka. You will be with Krishna. Physically, you are still here, but your soul cannot be limited by material nature. Through your conscious choice, if you have an inner connection through Prabhupada, you can be in the spiritual world. Bhagavatam 3.2.6, Prabhupada said, you can be here also serving in the spiritual world. How? Through your level of elevating your consciousness. Elevate your consciousness from a community to crowd to congregation to committed. Become committed. Then become core. Go more closer to God. Prabhupada was, I mentioned this many times, you probably heard this. Prabhupada was in New York hospital. So he said, this Indradumna Maharaj was revealing this pastime. He said he was ringing bell in front of Radha Damodar deity in Vrindavan. All of a sudden he felt little pain. So he opened his eyes. Can you imagine, like, I don't know how many of you can imagine like that. I saw that in India, big temple, even in America probably. When you ring the bell, well, in America, we don't ring the bell so much. Only outside, bell is outside. But in India, you can see the ringing bell while the arati is going on. And people are like closing eye and they're thinking of God and ringing the bell. They are like absorbed, hearing the kirtan. So Prabhupada was doing that. Prabhupada said, I was ringing the bell. Then I felt little pain on the chest. So I opened my eyes. I found myself in New York hospital. So I'm asking you, was Prabhupada in New York hospital or he was in Vrindavan?
Physically in the hospital, but soul serving in Vrindavan, ringing the bell in Vrindavan.
So something like that. It makes sense?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you can be in the spiritual world through service. So thank you. Those are very nice questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhus and Mothers. Looking forward to see you all next Wednesday on this Bhagavad Gita. We are going to actually read the same verse again, the 10, I believe, 10, I think so. I'll make a little note here. Yes. No, 11, sorry,
11.
not 10, 11. And then we'll continue. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Pancha kalpataruvesya kripa sindhaveva chapatitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Nice to see you all, Mark.